What is up, the beautiful people of DHP Dunkland? We come to you live, reporting from Lakeland, Florida and Davenport, Florida, to bring you all the latest news regarding your dunking friends and family. Today, Isaiah Rivera tested his vertical, and it was unfortunately not what we expected. Actually, I would say it is what we expected.
Maybe even better than what we expected.
Yeah, maybe better. So first off, it was probably the best dunk session I've ever witnessed in terms of entertainment. It was better than anything I've ever seen in regards to the basics. I'm a big fundamentals guy regarding most things in life. It's just do the fundamentals better. Do the fundamentals better than other people, whether it's training laws, whether it's finance, whether it's business, whether it's relationships. It's like, look, let's just like find the 3 really important things or 2 really important things and just do those really freaking well, like incredibly well, and do those so well that you just go back and you refine them more. And in regards to Isaiah's dunks today, I want to say that I don't know if it can get much better. I don't know if there's a better version of these dunks from anyone ever in the history of the world. That's my personal lens. Yes, I'm biased. He's my friend and business partner, and I'm his coach. Yes, I agree. I'm biased. But when you see the dunks, did you post them?
No, I have them.
Dude, there was the weirdest thing when you sent that. There was like a weird like discoloration on the white part. I don't know what that was. It was super weird, and it's only in the video. But anyways, don't post that video.
Huh? I can share the dunks.
No. Okay, all right, fine. A little teaser.
This is
for the guys and gals.
This is the widescreen. This is like you guys are gonna get a preview. I mean, this is basically the whole session, but
is your light on? Why do you look so like well lit?
It's the evening, man. We always podcast in the morning, and I get the lighting in the afternoon.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, you ready to watch this?
You look so handsome. Yes. Wait, let it load. Okay, yeah, I'm ready. Show me.
All right, let's watch this session.
No sound is crazy. Dude, turn the sound on. Turn the sound on. Go back. Turn the sound all the way up. Can't even hear it. But
it's 911 and a quarter. Right? No, not 911 and an eighth. 911 and an eighth.
Yeah, I guess it depends who you're asking.
It's tragic you can't hear it.
It is, because the sounds of these dunks are so very glorious. Oh my God. The dunk that ended it all. Bro, the punch on that was so satisfying. Did you look back what I was talking about, by the way, on some of these dunks?
Yeah. And
bro, that one-hander, go back. Oh my God, the joy. Go frame by frame here. The joy I felt when he made this dunk. It was the most beautiful thing and your face, the stank face, the grossest two-hander I've ever seen. You know who's done that? Jericho Sims. That's the only person I've ever seen do that.
Yeah.
And he's like 6'9".
That one was
okay. Look at how hot. Stop. I want you to visualize, just kind of squint your eyes and look at how much mass is in the air. Now keep going. It gets better, Isaiah. Wait till your legs kick out a little bit. Yeah, right. Yeah, up, back. Right, down one more. Right there. Oh, up, forward. Yeah, right about, nope, back. Legs split as high as possible. One more back. Right there. So right there. Yep, that's it. Pause. Don't go anywhere. That frame right there, I want you guys to think about if you squint your eyes and you just look at all that weight, all that human flesh thrust 50 inches into the air. And then the punch on this was diabolical. Just literally, my best one-handers look like that. Okay, you can press play. It was so satisfying. So very satisfying. It was a top. I haven't seen the windmill yet. I'm going to throw up. Oh my goodness, golly God. That is absolutely insane.
Yeah, that frame is kind of messed up.
I think even one frame back, dude. What the hell? You landed and the stink face said, oh, there we go. Testing a glorious, what we know is 49.5, but Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Pause the top. Pause the top. Oh, go back. Go back. Go back. Back. Oh, forward. 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 Back. That's your highest frame. Right there.
Yeah.
And I'm showing you this because I told you that you needed to jump closer and you didn't listen.
That is so close though, bro. And think about the variables.
Keep going forward. Keep going forward. Bro.
Yeah, I'm
you're on the way down. But that's the thing, dude. You're dealing with half inches. You're dealing with a matter of inches.
And now think about all the variables that
I know the margins are small. I know the margins are small, brother. Listen, I know. I get it. You got to have everything perfect. But you could have hit 50.5, maybe 51 today.
I think 50.5 was in the cards.
Yeah. Like you could have done it. And because your best like when you tested 50.5 the first time, I think it was 4.62, 4.63. Is that what the flight time was? Or was it
9.71? I think
9.71 the first time?
Yeah.
Okay, but then let's look how you land here. Look at how you land. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Pause and rate. Yeah. So the highest landing configuration I've ever seen. For perspective, generally Isaiah lands bent over with one hand up. Yeah. It's very, very vertical position. You probably got 3 or 4 frames.
And I'm on one leg.
Yeah. Yeah. So very, very vertical on the landing, which I think you probably would have hit 50.5. I'm pretty confident of that. I think you would have squeaked out 2 more frames. But nonetheless, insanity, absolute insanity.
That's so freaking crazy.
Yeah, it looks insane. So if you were to fudge your reach like everyone wants you to, it would be like 65. But yes, truly a spectacle of a performance. One of my favorite maybe ever. And Isaiah and I have a few things to unpack here. That is one, the what would you call it? Margin of error there, very small. We gotta get an approach, brother. Like in high jump, if you're Sotomayor or like your Mutaz Barsham and you're trying to, you're literally dealing with centimeters of height that it's timing. It's peaking at the right.
Looking at that back, it wasn't that I needed to scoot forward. It was same spot, run faster.
Oh, well, that's another alternative. But what's interesting about that is last time you tested, we had you move forward.
Yeah.
So I was like, based on historical data, you need to move forward.
Yeah.
Or start at that same spot, move and run faster. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Part of that, I mean, that's like part of what track and field athletes deal with a lot of the time. Is like, oh, you move up a foot and you still foul, or like move back a foot and you still foul, move back 2 feet, you still foul. Wow, why? It's like you're targeting, you're literally aiming towards the board and steering,
hitting a bullseye. You're moving so fast.
Yeah.
And then you got to hit a very small point.
Very tiny, ideally as close as possible to where you want to peak, right? You're only at your peak for a brief moment. So either jump higher so it doesn't matter, or jump correctly in the right spot. And I think that's more of what it is that you have to get the right spot down to hit 51 or 51.5, maybe 52. I don't know. I think that's more of where the error lies. And it's tough because not only are you again, it's either jump higher and that solves the problem, or you just keep doing it enough times that you get better at the skill. Both good options. But either way, your cluster is way better. I think you're a better product. You're a better biological, physiological specimen right now than you've ever been, which is really exciting and promising for you and your future endeavors. And what's
crazy is how weak I am right now.
I was gonna say, I want you to talk a little bit about what we talked about on the way home, because I think it'll shed some light on what you and I have talked about in the past, but maybe it'll solidify what we've already known.
So for context, this week power numbers were way down. We've measured my power outputs on cleans, trap bar jumps at this point, and leading up to this session, my power numbers were way, way, way down. My power clean is down Like in terms of watts, everything is down. Then my power clean itself is down 30 pounds, which is crazy. That's like a 10%. Yeah, 10% decrease in my power clean. My squat is down probably 10 pounds, which we usually don't see. Like it's not as sensitive as the clean metrics. So the fact that I'm jumping like this at those strength levels, and historically I've always jumped my best when I'm at my strongest, is
Andy's calling
pretty.
me. I want to show this so she knows I was podcasting and I don't get yelled at.
But
Okay, go ahead.
that's pretty crazy. So now the plan is I have All-Star Weekend coming up in 2 weeks. We're gonna do a hit volume for a week, then back off. And then something that we talked about was the isometric cycle. The isometric cycle, I detrained a lot because I got hurt and I couldn't hit a lot of concentric work. I was basically skipping the Saturday sessions because I couldn't train. And I jumped really well, essentially peaked, potentially better mid-cycle during the eccentrics than today.
Wait. You think you peaked during last week?
Last week.
No.
Potentially.
Potentially, yes. But let me say this. Everything indicates through other data that is not the case, dude. No, I would not say that. Maybe because you jump so well and based on flight time. But I would say this. Every other metric across the board, even into this fall, this week, has been down. Your metrics have been down for 2 weeks on the eccentric and concentric.
Yeah.
And you're jumping outside of one outlier day with a bunch of the best energy I've ever seen in a gym at any moment in my career coaching you. I attribute it to adrenaline because I think if you would have tested,
you think put that same environment today,
I think you'd test way better.
Yeah.
I don't think it's close. I think it's a very unanimously, obviously you hit 51. You hit 51 easily. I think maybe, I mean, who knows? But I highly doubt that 2 weeks into the most intense physiological stressor in terms of tension on the muscle that you can achieve and connective tissue, that you're jumping your best.
Yeah.
I highly, highly doubt that. And there's very little concentric work. Like your outputs indicate, like you just said, your power outputs are shit. When was the last time you power cleaned well?
Part of me wonders, because my cluster is so high right now, what if your
basement's so high that your actual vertical is 53?
No, and specificity is like pretty high if you consider the traditional like plyos and all that. Like what if I'm like unloaded or some weird thing right now? You know what I mean? Like I'm like in competition period. Like I'm like,
oh, you're saying what if you're like chronically peaked?
Yeah.
Maybe it's possible, but you did. The thing is, that'd be a 6 week unload if we're going to use that definition. 7 week unload because it's week 3 is the end of week 3. That would mean that you did 4 weeks of isos or 3. Sorry, no. It'd be 6. I think isos was 3 week cycle. Because we switched to eccentrics early, and I just don't see that being the case. I would be very surprised if you, of all people, were responding non-traditionally to training. And when I say responding non-traditionally, I mean you're responding well to very, very long unloads. Typically, that's not how it works with you. Typically, you jump really, really high during high volume or high concentric periods. I think the hype explains most of the variance you see there. I mean, science and practice of strength training would say that was not a true estimate.
Training max.
It was not a training max.
There's a training max and then there's a competition max.
Yes. Today was a training max.
A training max.
Yes.
Last week was a competition max.
Yes. I very much believe that. And I think that what's likely to happen, and I probably won't be there, unfortunately, because I'm going to blame the NBA is slow. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Am I allowed to say that? Not the NBA. It's not the NBA. It's someone else is slow. And the events that you had maybe were on the table were slow. So I wasn't able to know what was going to happen. I still don't even know what's going to happen. Technically, you don't. So as a result, I won't be there, but very unlikely I will be there. But it's very possible that you test your absolute limit. It'll be that'll
2
be
weeks. 2 weeks from
next
now.
2 weeks from now. Yeah,
Yeah.
2 weeks from now. And the reason why is because are you allowed to say the day that it's on?
Yeah, Saturday.
Saturday. Okay. And this is the event that was similar to last year that we're not going to disclose, but it was an event
Yeah.
that happened last year that you will be at. Okay. So what date is that? The 16th?
15th.
Okay. Yeah. So exactly 2 weeks. I think if we hit 10 days hard and then back off 5 or 4, I think you're going to go crazy, dude. The problem is that you went ahead and you just mashed up your tendons today into itty bitty pieces. How you feeling? How you feeling, buddy?
Not bad, actually.
Wait till tonight, and then you get anxiety and you have the urge to text me and say, Dad, I can't see. My knees hurt.
I can always tell when I pushed it too far, and I definitely didn't push it too far today. There were moments where I got close. Like if I would have kept testing initially, I would have pushed it too far. But dunking's like 95% intensity. And
So
then
you didn't
testing's
test
100.
enough times to do it. I mean, what you said, and he also said this about having the vert trainer there periodically or more frequently. Explain what you said there and why.
So I want to start bringing the vert trainer. By the way, we tested with the vert tech because the vert tech allows me to get a number even if I miss, and missing is very deflating. Like when you're trying to test and you miss.
We didn't measure until the end.
I do want to measure in the beginning, by the way, in the future.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
just so
I want to know. I want to know like what I'm at.
I see. The reason I don't like that is because if you get in your head about it, and I feel like it can bias the results. That's the only thing I don't like about it. But if you'd rather do that, I'm totally fine with that. I just think
is a good point. I'm less liable to overjump if I don't know.
Yeah. It's like a true. Okay, so training max, no. Competition, yes. Like if it's a high adrenaline environment and you want to know what you're doing, I think that's good. In this situation, I didn't want to, because if you, for example, let's say you hit 12 foot and you were struggling, bro, would you even have tried 12.2? Would you haven't even tried 12.5, right?
Yeah.
Like after your first miss, we would be like, oh my God, I can't even touch 12. Like, oh, what's the point, you know? And then the other thing too is when it comes to leaning vertex, like everything else, like the 11-11 tab might not be actually 11-11. It might be like 11 and 11.
Which, by the way, this was the most accurate measurement we've ever done of any testing.
Oh yeah,
tool.
The measurements here.
Yeah, like we brought like a big ass box.
I was standing on like a 6-foot box, and Isaiah had to spot me, and I held it at the top, hooked it on, made sure we weren't pulling a tab down, which it would have lowered your vertical.
Oh, and the flight time. You know what's interesting is I think when we did the vert trainer, it wasn't a good measuring of the vert trainer when we tested 2 weeks ago.
Because we didn't have
3 weeks ago
boxes to measure.
We kind of eyeballed, we put the measuring tape and we kind of eyeballed how high it was.
Right.
So I feel like that jump was really a 48.5, maybe a 49 or something like that.
What's your flight time? Look at your flight time though.
That day, that's why I say this, because that day my flight time was like 0.95 on the 50.
Yeah, but I think today you were at 9.62. I think you could have touched 50. You peaked exactly at, bro.
Yeah.
When you touched 50, you peaked directly at the bell. I'm talking, you were not in front of, you were not behind, you were directly underneath at your apex of the jump. And I am talking your fingernail.
That's a good point.
Fingernail touched it.
That's a good point. And every time I remember
today you swiped and slapped it and spun the whole tab around. So you had space. Like I think you had like what, like there maybe?
Yeah. I was like,
okay, so that's already 50
there.
Yeah, so that's like half an inch. You're already at 50 right there. And you swiped down on it and you peeked behind it. That's why I think you probably were 50.
That's a good point. And when you look at all my vertical jump tests, when I tested 50.5 for the first time, I was like that.
Yep.
When I tested 50.5 last year with 0.98 flight time, also behind it.
But how did you land? Because if you pull up the videos of those right now and the pictures, I would be curious to compare them.
I think I'm pretty freaking high.
I'm anticipating you have roughly a 25 or 30 degree hip flexion, almost like an RDL, like down like maybe a foot in RDLs. And you're going to have your right arm up in the air. Left arm is going to be about shoulder height.
Let's see where this
That's my guess. Let's see where we're at. Oh, I'm visual. I'm going to close my eyes. Pause it whenever you land. I'm going to describe what I see in my head. Are you ready?
Okay.
My eyes are closed. Okay.
Yep.
You are landing left leg first. You're bent like an RDL. And it's going to be around, let's say, 20 degrees of flexion from vertical, from upright, maybe less, maybe just a little bit. And then you're going to be, arms are going to be like this, almost like this. That's what I'm visualizing. Am I right? Did I get it close?
Close.
I'm seeing a spinning dot here, so I don't know what is happening.
You can't see my landing?
It's just a spinning dot, and it looks like your feet are been on the ground. They done been on the ground. Keep playing.
That's as close as I could get.
All right.
Because I can try to pause it.
Yeah, just no. Just play regular speed. Let me see. Oh shit! Because you got excited.
Yeah.
So
and I also have here. I'm gonna share my whole screen and compare it side by side.
That's not touchdown, bro. No way. That's kind of similar. Yeah, it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell.
I'm a little.
You're definitely higher on that one, dude. Look at your ankle. Look at your foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the what? Yeah, no, you're definitely higher in the other one for sure.
I know how I can find this.
Show me your moves. Dun 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 dun. Oh.
Is it this one?
Nope.
All right, I can't find the video for some reason.
All right, that's all right. I was just narrating for the people.
Oh, I did find it. Aha!
Is that Nathan? Nathan's got more views than I ever
Ooh,
had.
this actually, this angle right here.
You're definitely higher in the green shorts, dude.
Yep. I'm on one leg. Hands are above my shoulders.
Look at your feet. Look at your feet. Your feet are closer together.
Yeah.
Your hip, dude. Yeah, you're way higher. Not way higher, but you're higher. You're higher. Yeah. So, all right.
And then the other one I'm curious about is this one.
Oh yeah, I watched this video the other day.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Look at this, dude. You look like a better athlete now. Just crazy. Ooh, that's pretty high. That's pretty high. That's 50.5 right there.
Yeah.
It's still lower. I lied, brother.
Still lower.
Definitely a little lower there. Okay. Yeah. Well,
all right. So basically, I was jumping high as hell today, landing high.
That's what I think.
That's
my consensus.
I jumped, and you think I could have jumped?
Like if I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible, looking at the landing positions, looking at the flight times, and looking at the vertex and how high your hand was above it.
Yeah,
I think so. I think you were jumping very, very high. If you were jumping close to your highest ever, I would say it's a top 5 day.
Yeah,
but it's not a top. Like it doesn't roll over to number 1 and move the 5th one to 6th.
Yeah.
So if you tested perfectly, yeah, you probably could have hit 50.5, maybe 51. I think 50.5.
I think 50 or 50.5.
Dude, you had 50. You had 50 on that jump.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying like on a tab, like a perfect jump, like I would have touched
50.5,
50 tab or a 50.5.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think on that jump you would have touched. You were very close to touching the 50 tab. So it's possible you could have touched the 50.5 tab. Anyways, that said, very good jumping day, freakish performance. In conclusion, eccentrics definitely do something. They do something potent and helpful. I don't think it's that you're peaking. I really don't. You couldn't pay me money to believe that. Yeah. I don't think that's the case. I just don't. There's no way, dude. Just you look like flat as hell during every other experience that I have with you, reading your body language, seeing your, even before sessions, like today, dude, you did not look as nearly as good in terms of your body language today compared to last week. I think you saw people hooping in there, dude, and your energy was way better. And it's just you looked bouncier in the warm up. And when I saw you come in and warming up, I was like, his body language doesn't look great right now.
Yeah,
But
it's environment. Like, it's crazy because even when there was like 2 people in there, I was like a little bit excited.
a little bit more. And dude, literally people were walking out of the gym. Like people would walk in to see what we were doing and then immediately be like, oh, okay, cool. And then walk out. Like they didn't give a shit, which it is what it is. But yeah, they really didn't care. So I think that moving forward, ideally we do go to the one near me, but right now the gym's closed.
Yeah.
So
the thing, I want to bring the vert trainer to every session just in case I'm ever in a high adrenaline environment. Dunk and then just blast a jump or 2 on the vert trainer if I'm ever feeling spicy.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's less formal testing, and just testing when you feel good is going to be better than trying to force it. Just roll the dice.
For the stars to align, essentially.
Yeah, like if you feel great and you're like, I think I could do it today. If you can't test if you don't have the equipment.
Yeah.
So that's why we use flight times because it's convenient. But unless you have the Vertec with you, it's just not really meaningful. And we're not going to use flight time to gauge that because there is so much variation in how you land. So yeah, it just doesn't really make sense to do that. In which case, I mean, in conclusion, eccentrics do something. Physiologically, my guess, theoretically, I think there's a lot of evidence to indicate they stiffen tendons. 1, they recruit a lot of type 2 fibers, very high motor recruitment, probably can recruit more motor units in that than maybe anything, right?
Plyometrics do something as well.
Intramuscular tension, crazy. Very low volume plyos have been demonstrated, especially in basketball players, a few studies where they have helped their vertical go up in season with very low volumes. We did reactive stiffness hops, which are maybe more intense, one day at least. I mean, who knows how much that's worth. Your concentric strength is down, and it is very important for you to feel fresh and strong. And the eccentric work, if hit for too long, too hard, fatigues you a lot. And ISOs, in conclusion, I would not recommend doing very maximal effort ISOs. You could do pauses at sub-maximal loads if you wanted. I think that's fine. That'd probably be a appropriate lead in. But to do pauses, like specifically pin presses, I'm just my personal opinion is not worth it. Experimenting with them myself, and someone commented and was like, "Oh, well, why do eccentric? Isometric is so much better. You can get the same adaptations with less risk." No, because staying at the same joint angle and pushing in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 just grinds away that tissue versus like 1, 2, 3, 4. Or honestly, maybe this is a better example. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Versus just pushing in one spot for 4 seconds as hard as you can. It's just not worth it for the cartilage. That's in the joint. It's like early onset osteoarthritis. Like, look that up.
Crazy when I think about my health during the isometric cycle. It went like this. Then beginning of eccentric cycle, it went like this, climb back up, and then the last like 2 weeks, it's been like slowly trending downwards.
But here's the thing. Is that because you're jumping 50 inches and doing very long sessions?
What I was gonna say is dunk session super intense. I'm doing plyometrics, super high specificity everywhere. We know high specificity correlates with injury risk. I think what's gonna happen, we're gonna move to high volume. I always feel super healthy when I do high volume. And psychologically, the effect of that, of being able to full send jumps, is huge. Like, I think I'm gonna, and I've been jumping twice a week essentially. We're gonna like remove that second jump day, the plyos, and get the strength back up. And I predict good things. I predict me and Austin call it the real deload.
Week 1 of volume.
Week 1 of volume is always an insane day for some reason.
The only thing that is a little bit of a caveat is you jumped a lot today and you had pretty insane intensity earlier in the week. Or sorry, not earlier in the week. Just you jumped a lot today.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, is your plan to lift on Sunday and does it feel good and then start the week on Tuesday?
I don't know. I might just do an actual light feel good on Saturday. My feel goods haven't been feel goods. I've been pushing hard as hell the last 3 weeks.
I didn't. Okay, yes, I will say that. No, actually, I did tell you to do a feel good lift.
Like I've been
the one caveat is I said, "How did you feel?" And you're like, "I feel good." And you're like, "I'm gonna go up to 80%." And I was like,
yeah,
okay.
like I've been pushing on those.
Do you know
days.
why? It's because you're scared you're gonna lose concentric strength, and
That's always what happens, and it bites me in the ass.
Yeah,
that is what happened last year. It wasn't. You can argue that the functional overreach might have not hurt me
if you didn't max out every other
because
day.
in my head, I was like, I'm not. If I lose my strength, I'm gonna jump low.
And then what ends up happening is you feel worse because you push too hard on those lifts.
Yep. So I think tomorrow I'm gonna do an actual field, like keep it light, keep it slow, keep the range of motion high. Like,
dude, it's possible you just were never fresh when you were supposed to be.
Yeah,
because you have this fear of losing concentric strength. So I think what we're gonna do is do a blended 10-day loading period where it's like, between 5 and 7 reps and 4 and 6 sets. Yeah. And that way we still get volume and we still get a little bit of a max strength stimulus, but we're not like touching singles. And then, we're just gonna, it's pretty, it's mundane for a lot of you because like you're used to Isaiah doing that a lot.
This is the videos that do terribly on YouTube.
Like we're gonna have to carry with our charming personalities the next couple of weeks, Isaiah. Okay, because the people aren't gonna want to watch your training complexity. Is not gonna be very. What's funny
is
that's part of the plan, though.
That doesn't get views. The stuff that doesn't get the views is the boring work where the bounce is
so required. It is so necessary.
The grind, the slow show up, clock in at 5 a.m., clock out at 6 p.m., repeat the next day, invest your $100 a month, and 20 years later you have $1 million. It's the same thing with vertical jump. It's like go in, you do your squatting, you do your cleans, you do your accessory work. It's high volume. It sucks. The same shit. It's boring. Clock out, do it again 2 days later, repeat that for a few months. Mm-hmm. Jump once a week, and now you have a high ass vertical.
It's exactly like I said at the beginning of the podcast. It's about doing the basics better.
Yeah.
It's do the same stuff, just learn how to do it better. Do the same. It's still the same laws, the same rules apply. It's just you got to figure out how to do the fundamentals better. It's how do we do the volume and max strength and intensity? How do we do that better? How do we do it where you're healthier, where you feel better, where you're fresher at the end? How do we do it where we are maximizing those like goal adaptations without fucking you up prior to big competitions? And the thing is, I feel like we have a pretty good idea now because it's so mundane and boring that it works.
Final question for you, John. Do you think
I was nervous?
Okay. Do you think I've been dunking basically every week, really high intensity, hella jumps, high specificity thing you can do, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think it's been negatively affecting my workout? Some of my best training cycles are when I'm playing basketball and I'm in and out in 45 minutes.
Okay, so one, I never programmed the stiffness hops. I also did not program maxing your hex bar power output. That was not on the list. Yeah. That was impromptu. Let that be known. So removing those, I don't think it would have been as bad. I don't think it would have been like that as detrimental. And I think that I initially told you that we needed to keep dunk sessions in, but I wouldn't expect to keep them long and I wouldn't expect them to be high quality. Yeah. The variables that change that, the first week went fine. Everything went correctly, appropriately. You got into the next week and you went hard during, no, you were pretty shit week 2. But I think that I would have been fine with that and basically said, okay, just keep it short and sweet. I think I told you that on week 2. I said, don't get hurt, keep it short and sweet, get in, get out. Just like jump for 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. Because I didn't want to. And the other thing I should have probably taken into consideration is that you did do those reactive hops. the reason we had dunk sessions in there is because we needed to touch on that quality. Otherwise, you're a weightlifter. You are a weightlifter or a power lifter. You need to do dynamic activity, and you can't just otherwise you're better off doing a powerlifting program or a weightlifting program. And at that point, you will detrain the really, really important stuff. And for you, maybe that'd be okay for a month because you've got a lot more hay in the barn in regards to jump volume and elastic volume because of all the specific jumping that you've done. So yes, in your case, maybe that'd be okay. But we've already taken out sprints. We've already taken out the dynamic warm-up, right? We've already taken out basketball. So I think if you would have played basketball, that would have checked the box for me. That would have checked the box for me. I would have been fine with that. And that kind of was the goal, to find basketball. But week 1, there was no one on the court. Literally everyone was gone. Everyone left when you got there. And you came to play basketball. That was part of the plan. That's why we picked that gym. But we got there a little too late. Week 2, the goal was to also do that. That was the goal, to get some play basketball and get some dunks in. That's why we went early, dude. That is literally why we went early. That was the goal. The goal wasn't to have a dunk session. You felt good and just popped off. So week 3 the goal was to have a dunk session and to jump. And the reason we want to do that is for data. So to answer your question, do I think that the dunk sessions were detrimental? Yes, the dunk sessions were never part of the plan. They were never part of the plan.
I do think, though, something positive about them. I think I've become more resilient because it wasn't like a huge rant. Like, I didn't go from dunking 20 minutes to an hour and a half dunk session.
No, you kept it at once a week.
Think about my resilience.
The sessions were short.
I'm in like good dunking shape. Like, as in, I could go travel somewhere and have an hour dunk show and pop off, not be worried about crazy, like, super slow warm up. Like, I can go.
You're definitely healthier. Than you've been. When it comes to the rigors.
And I think the issue with the short sessions, is the training quality is higher. I become an output monster, but then
you get hurt.
As soon as you put me in an environment where it's like I go from dunking 20 minutes to now it's an hour and with adrenaline, it's too big of a
dude. The risk is still there, though. That's what I think you're a little bit deluded about. Bro, is the risk is still there.
Also, I'm like looking back and I'm like, what have I been doing? I remember this last like 2.5 months has been like a blur, like crazy jumping. And I was like, what was 4 months ago? Like, what was all that? And I'm looking back, bro.
Prince loop.
I've gotten way better. Like, it went from, I had knee pain, like really bad knee pain.
And mediocre sessions every week.
Literally 5 months ago, I was in the middle of knee pain.
Was that from testing at dunk camp?
Yeah. And then competing, like, without being able to rehab properly.
Right.
It's been 3 months, 4 months. Like, we just finished a macro cycle essentially. And I think it's
we're not done yet. We're not done yet.
But if you compare the beginning of macro to now, I'm going like this.
So what's interesting is we kind of split it up into 2 macros. We had one macro. It's almost like, it's kind of weird. It's like a tri-annual, like a different, like tri-seasonal, because
All-Star is basically
he's the end of
competition period.
Yes, exactly. So what happened is we finished the competitive season. We finished the macro cycle at dunk camp.
Yeah.
Took some time to get you healthy, got through the summer, got through the competitive season. Then you're in the competitive season, right? So, whatever. Let's call that the end of the macro cycle. Now we're at the beginning of the year. So the school year is typically how we call the year, because that's generally what things coincide with. And so we went through, August, September, October, November, and got really strong, got really healthy, volume intensity, had a little couple hiccups in there, whatever else. Christmas rolls around and you were still in intensity. I think you were still doing the Prince loop at that point, right?
Yeah.
No, maybe not. Because
that would have been a month ago.
Yeah, that's not right. You would have been doing isometrics. Maybe not.
Yeah, a month ago I was doing ISOs.
Yeah, so you started the ISOs. So we probably finished technically the Prince loop the end of that time. but we didn't get the results we wanted.
I was in the friend group beginning of December. Like I was like getting strong as hell.
Yes, but the problem is we didn't get the results we thought.
That's when
We didn't
Bam
get the
Bam visited me
results we
and I
thought.
tested. Bam Bam visited me. I remember Bam Bam visited me and I tested my belt squat. And I like that's when I did 365.
Yeah, like you're really strong, but you didn't jump that well.
Yeah. I don't even remember what I was jumping like.
Bro, I don't think you jumped that well. That whole we unloaded and you did not jump well.
It was all a blur.
I mean, if you can't remember,
muscle pull was in there.
Which one? Quad?
Somewhere. Yeah, double East Bay.
Oh, double East Bay. No, that was still ISOs. That was ISOs. Look at the end of the Prinz loop. What was the end of the Prinz loop? I'm gonna pause this. So we've time skipped. We got to the bottom of this, and it's Austin's fault. As per usual, it's Austin's fault. He ruined it. No, I'm kidding. What happened is we missed data. We didn't collect data because Austin visited and he guilted us. I say us because all of us did it, specifically you two. I didn't. And dunked twice the week prior to Christmas before he went home. And that was the end of a 4-month macro cycle. So kind of. So we didn't get good data. And then you pulled your quad at the end of the macro cycle. And then we went into the isometric cycle. And then you started to kind of see some of the fruits of your labor during that time. So then we're in the ISOs period. You hit double E's, 360 double E's, but I think after 2 weeks. So it was probably the beginning of January or something like that. Yeah. And then you hit the week prior, you hit 360 behind between.
Yep.
And then
that was in the middle of the ISO cycle.
That was in the middle of the ISO cycle.
I'm like flying this whole cycle.
Yeah, which makes sense, which is kind of weird because it's kind of in line with triphasic and what
I remember I would tell you like I feel bouncy. Like I would finish the workouts and I'm like, I feel primed or whatever.
Yeah. And I think, but you had unloaded a lot prior to that. And the volumes were kind of low and you were missing a lot of the concentric work. So the volume was down. You're doing the stuff that would probably maintain a lot of performance. And you've just finished 4 months of building up your strength levels. So now we come into, that makes sense. Volumes are low, specificity's moderate. It's not even that high. We're working on isometric strength. Obviously, it's high risk, high reward.
I finished a lot of train. Like I accumulated a ton.
And we unloaded a lot too because you got hurt. So then we go into the eccentrics. I think you got 2 weeks into the ISOs and we start eccentrics. We did that for 2 weeks and then we started an unload. And then we got into this week.
The missing data is I never deloaded. We
don't know
strength work. We don't know how high I would have jumped.
Did it work?
Like it's possible I could have tested 51 or 52. We don't know.
At the moment, it looks like isometric is how you peak.
It low-key, on the data. Having looked back at everything, I think what happened, I became a different athlete physiologically from the Prinz loop.
Yep.
Got hurt. It unloaded me. Maybe too much. I might have even detrained. Like my fitness was down a little bit.
You're saying in the ISO period?
Yeah, but I was able to
I don't
have freaky dunk sessions. I
don't think you were unloading that much. I think it was just the right amount. Like it's porridge, dude. It was just right.
Yeah.
And then
I had some crazy sessions. Like it's impossible to tell. I was telling this to Austin. You can't really tell the difference between like 49.5, 50, 51. We're talking about 1.5 inches of difference. Think about what that would look like on a dunk. Like,
yeah, you can't. On a dunk, you can't tell. Without testing,
you have varied rim heights. Now you
the only way you'd have to look at flight times.
Yeah, but even then, landing positions change. We have rim heights that are changing with about 1.5 inches of variance. We don't know. We don't know unless you test. Oh,
wait, give me one. Yeah, wait. Go ahead.
I said unless you test, you do not know what that is. So is it possible I was jumping higher after the max strength work? Maybe. We don't know. We're missing data.
I agree. And we'll never have it because Austin decided that he wanted you to dunk. Andy's glaring at me right now. Holy hell. Do you want to say hi to the viewers? Anyways, so I'm podcasting later in the day. We're doing a debrief. We're doing a debrief of 6 months worth of training, Andy. It's very important. Anyways, so in conclusion, like we kind of said, we have missing data, so we don't know. But based on what we do know, you jumped really high after dropping volume, after volume and intensity. You jumped really high by doing isos, and you jumped really high 1 week of the eccentrics, which you shouldn't have jumped high.
I was within.
I think you were detraining. I think you were I think you were fatigued. I don't even think you're that detrained. I think you're just fatigued, dude. I guarantee you, with 1 week of concentric work, your shit's gonna be back.
Yeah. Well, maybe we don't even know what is back.
I think your power clean. I think your power clean and back squat will be back, and front squat will feel strong.
What's crazy is we looked at this. I'm within 2.5% of best ever. Like, we're talking small changes. Like, I've maintained the cluster. If you look at this cluster, this is the best cluster I've ever had in my life. I've never jumped.
Is like so high.
I've never jumped 50 or close to 50
this many times in this short period of time.
Yeah.
So the real question is, are you fatigued or are you detrained, or is it both? And I think it's both. I think that yes, your concentric qualities are a little detrained. Yes. I think your eccentric qualities are very high fatigue, high fitness. I think when you touch on the concentric, if you unload properly and you have enough time to recover, I think it's very likely.
And add a dash of adrenaline.
Just a sprinkle of Chet Holmgren and whatever. I don't know. I posted some stuff that I filmed because I'm a huge fan of the guys from last year. And they were really impressive in this. So maybe at All-Star Weekend, if like Mac or like someone shows up like they did at the Hoop Bus or something like that, and you have like some adrenaline, some true adrenaline, and you're not hurt, and someone doesn't pull you on the court and ask you to dunk in some random unsanctioned event that you didn't sign up for, then I think you could go crazy. The problem is you're not going to have a Vertec there.
You know where I think things are going to get freaky?
After All-Star, like it did last year?
When Donovan and all the guys visit.
We didn't even talk about, Florida. Never mind. I thought you were talking about
bro. I'm going to be a month and a half into the volume intensity, and I think that's
do a brief fun loan. But I mean, this is the end of the macro cycle. Like, this is a big moment. We had time to sit down and kind of break this down and make sense of the last 6 months and what worked and what didn't. And as per usual, things aren't perfect. You're going to run into problem areas. Things aren't necessarily, you write in pencil for a reason, and you do your best to make sense of it after the fact. And that's what we're doing here. So we try to
bust plateaus. We're in the plateau. We're trying to bust through it.
Yeah, we're creeping over it, bro.
This is, bro, what I think is going to happen. This reminds me when I was stuck. This reminds me when I was stuck at 47, 48, and then randomly it was like 2 inches higher. And I said, now I'm stuck at 50-ish, and I'm going to freaking break it. And then like it's going to be like the new level is going to be like 51, 52 or something.
And then everyone's going to be like, I hit 52. Yeah, I really hope so. Now we've kind of worked through the injuries too. I will say this, training's getting harder because you're more output and more fragile. And it's very difficult. You know what a glass cannon is, Isaiah?
Yeah. It sucks.
Glass cannon,
and I'm freaking in my prime, and my mind can't take this much longer, guys. I want to retire. I think this is the last plateau that I
doesn't have any more tolerance for it.
Going through. Then I'm gonna get fat. I want to get fat already. I don't care about 55. Just get me to 51, 52, and then I'm gonna get fat.
There's no way you won't be able to deal with it. All right, that's the end of the podcast. If you guys are interested, go to THPStrength.com. THPStrength.com is a conglomeration of translating human performance, my business, and exceptional strength, Isaiah's business, that became THP Strength. The beauty, I don't even know what you want to call it. It is a work of art.
Now we have a lot of coaches that are really smart. We have a physical therapist on the team. We have Austin Burke.
We got a mentee
on your corner.
All products of many years of research. It's crazy. They came up through the ranks as fans to athletes of ours, to athlete fans, to students of the game, to coaches, to now respected by us. And that's cool. I like that. So we appreciate it. Thank you for all of you that trust us. We are very grateful. And we'll see you guys next week. Ciao. Au revoir. I tip my fedora to you.
Peace out.